Hello YouTube chess lovers, my friends, this is Gunjan here. Welcome to the 6th episode of Queen Trap Sack Lines. In this episode, I'm going to show you a wonderful queen sacrifice line in 2c3 Sicilian from the black perspective. The opening arises after the following order: e4, c5, c3, and the line which we are going to continue start with d5. Main line continues with e captures d5, queen captures d5, and now it doesn't matter whether your opponent continue with knight to f3 or d4. Let's say in this game white continue with d4 first, and after the move knight to c6 he continue with knight to f3. Now as per the theory, the most frequent choice from the black is either knight to f6 or bishop to g4. However, as usual, I am going to suggest a very tricky and a surprising move, bishop to f5. In fact, this is a very rare case in this line. This modern move is recently come into the limelight, and as happened in many cases, if white continue with the main line, then he will get into the trouble very quickly. Okay, bishop to e3, overprotecting the d4 pawn, knight to f6, and now as per the latest database, the most frequent choice from the white is either knight to a3 or knight b to d2, and in both the case black get a very comfortable middle game. In this video we are going to concentrate on the move knight b to d2. However, if your opponent continue with knight to a3, then I have attached a sample line in the PGN which will give you a very good idea how to play such positions. Knight b to d2, and the idea is very simple. White wants to develop a bishop with a tempo and continue with his lightning fast development. So question is, should we move the queen? Nah, we should equally play a tricky move, c captures d4. And now white has two choices, either to capture on d4 or play the mainline move bishop to c4. Now the capturing on d4 square is very bad for white. For example, if he capture with the c pawn, then he has this isolated queen pawn which later on become target for all black pieces. And instead of capturing with the pawn, if he continue with capturing with piece, for example knight captures d4, then we have knight captures d4, bishop captures d4, e5, bishop to e3, and now simple bishop to e7. And not only black is far ahead in development, but white pieces are completely cramped. The third option, bishop captures d4, is not good either. The simple reason is after bishop captures d4, knight captures d4, no matter however white recapture, black obtain the bishop pair, and in the long run this factor do counts a lot in open game. So considering all this fact, majority of the white player at this position continue with bishop to c4, which is very natural, developing a piece and attacking the queen. Except there is one problem, that this move leads to the instant disaster. I know probably you already guessed black's next reply, which is very obvious. Bam! So sacrificing the whole queen, and white doesn't have any second option. Bishop captures d5, what else? And now comes pawn captures d2 check, and white response is force. In order to protect the bishop, white has to capture with the queen. And at first sight it looks like black doesn't have enough compensation because he only get two minor pieces for the queen. But here comes the sting in the tail. Castle on the queen side, and now by force black is going to get the third piece for a queen, and every chess professional knows that 3 minor piece against queen is a decisive winning asset in most of the position. The good point from black perspective is there are only 30 games played from this position, and the result of the blacks are tremendous in this line. Now, as I have highlighted over here, mainly white has tried these three options and neither of them provide any comfort to the white camp. I have attached full games of these variations in the PGN, so you can check it out and get an idea how comfortably and easily black can win from these positions. The first move I want to look at is c4, which is in fact the most critical move in this position and has been played in a recent game between two 2200 plus rated player, where white's idea is after black plays e6, try to get the third piece, white can continue with queen to f4. So white is saying, if you grab my bishop, then I'll grab your bishop and you don't have enough compensation. And yes, indeed, it's true. But the game continuation will show you, with accurate play, you can get your piece easily. So in the game, black continue with bishop to d6, attacking the queen, queen to g5, still keeping eye on the bishop, and now comes bishop to b4 check. Kindly note, white cannot block the check with the knight. The simple reason is, after knight captures d5, pawn captures d5, rook captures d5, so black is attacking the knight, so white response is force. White has to support it with rook to d1, but after rook h to d8, it's a confirmation that that piece is going off the board, and so has white's game. So it is very obvious that white king has to come forward to the e2 square, and after that black can continue with the move h6, once again hitting the queen, queen captures g7, counter-attacking the knight, knight to h5, attacking the queen. And now in order to keep attacking, white has the only move, that is queen captures f7, but there comes knight to f4 check, king to e3, knight captures g2 check, king to e2, knight to f4 check, king to e3, and after rook h to f8, finally black managed to preserve his bishop, and that means white's light square bishop is going into the coffin forever. The important tactical point behind is, still white cannot take the piece. The simple reason is, after bishop to e4, discover check, king to e3, bishop captures f3, rook to g1, and rook d to e8 check, white king can hardly survive in this monstrous attacking position by black. The second move tried by the white is to castle on the king side, which in fact played in a recent game between Jordan and Solomon, where black simply snap up the bishop with rook captures d5, and as you can see by the arrows, black has a very simple plan. He wants to play e6, bishop to d6, rook to d8, and then create attack on the d file. There are few games played from this position and you can check them all in the database, but in this game white plays the move queen to e2, which is already a big time mistake, because after the move bishop to d3, white loses one of his rook and game only lasts for the 23 moves. The third move white can try over here is bishop captures c6, which in fact played by none other than c3 Sicilian expert Sergei Tivyakov, but even he cannot stop black's demolition job in this line. His opponent Sanchez continue with rook captures d2, white give this check, and after king captures b7, and in the game he played king captures d2, but it doesn't matter whether white continue with either of the capture. The sample lines are available in the PGN, which will highlight how comfortable black's position is. King captures d2, e6, and you can easily see that black has two bishops against rook and a pawn, and as happened in many cases, bishop pair can easily outplay one rook and a pawn. No surprise that Tiviaco lost in just 23 moves with a crushing win for the black. Well, I hope you enjoy and learn this surprising and tricky queen sacrifice line against 2c3 Sicilian. Once your opponent plays bishop to c4, don't miss the opportunity to sacrifice the queen with d captures e3, and with some good research, you can snatch many points in this line. Well, thank you for watching this video. Feel free to like, subscribe and comment on this video, and I'll meet you in my next episode very soon. Bye and take care.